Well, I'll start off. I was a radioman in the radio shack and took code all day long, and they decoded it after I took the code. And of course sometimes we copied plain language, which was coming over and for our newspaper aboard ship, and all the news of the day, you know, while we were at war would come over the radio, and that's what we would, they would then print it, you know. But that's mainly what I did all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I came aboard a ship with the first air group when the ship was first commissioned, VGS-27, and I worked in the office as a yeoman. I went into the Navy with a rating because I knew shorthand and typing, so I came in as third class, so I didn't have to work my way up from seaman. And then we just did regular office work. I did typing and men's records, and then sometimes I was in the ready room, which was the pilot's room aboard ship before they took off, and I had the headphones on, and I would write on the blackboard latitude and longitudes and things that came down from the bridge. And then after 6 months, when the squadron left, I was transferred to ship's company in the captain's office. And there again, my duties was mainly office work, but they were a little different. It took care of all incoming mail, routing it to officers, and doing court-martial work and things like that. And when we got hit, the chief that we had got killed, so I got bumped up to, I was able to make chief. And that's basically office work is what I did.
Okay. How old were y'all when you?
I was 18.
18, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk a little bit about October 24th, 25th, and 26th,
Okay.
1944.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all would just like to tell me what was going on that morning and talk us through it.
Well, the first morning there, I was up on duty, you know, when it hit, and didn't think it was that big of a deal because I was up forward and it hit aft. But later on, seeing what happened down there and how bad it was, of course, my memory kind of went bad after them couple days. And but the second day, you want me to tell you about the second day? The second day I was on duty, and the fella relieved me, and I went down, and I was going down the chow line down below, and the guy that relieved me got killed. So I always think that it wasn't my time yet to get, you know, to leave this world, and he got killed and took my place after I went down.
Did you know him very well?
Oh, very well. Oh, yeah.
It's one of the names that we...
The way we rode off tonight, yeah, right.
Well, I remember my battle station at the time was up in a little room, very, very small, probably 5 feet by 5 feet at the most. It was called a TBS room, I think it was. It was a ship-to-ship, like a radio, wasn't it?
Right.
And we were enclosed in there, so I really didn't see anything happening. All I remember was the guns going off and the ship shuddering, and I knew something had happened. But as you say, it's for some reason or other that didn't seem like a big deal.
No,
that
no,
day.
that day
they had the hole repaired, and that's the same day. And the next day, I have a little story to tell. Like, it wasn't my time to go either. I had gone down to we were at battle stations all the time. We took relief to go down to get a bologna sandwich. I think we were having that day. And I started back up, and I said to myself, I need to get some gum. I was about halfway up there, and I turned around and went back, and I would have been right exactly where that plane hit. So I always say that it wasn't my time to go. It wasn't my time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it was sort of chaotic after. I remember I didn't really have any duties per se, like manning a fire hose or anything like that.
No, I didn't either.
And we just sort of roamed around looking at dead bodies. We were just kids, and we were just stunned. You know, I could see bodies charred. They just have like a yellowish look to them or something.
Right.
I remember, and we didn't know what to do. And I guess, just like you say, I just The next couple of days, I don't remember much of anything.
I can't.
No.
One thing I do remember is that when I went down, when you're talking about George, roaming around kind of in chaos, I remember one fella, and he was, I don't know, his legs were gone and everything, and he says, "I'd like to have a cigarette before I die," and somebody lit up a cigarette for him. And I'll never forget that, because he had to have a cigarette.
And then after that, and we headed back, and the hangar deck where we got hit the first day, that's where a lot of casualties were, had a terrible stench of burnt flesh. And I remember we used to avoid that, going from one end of the ship to the other. We always go outside and walk the catwalk up there, or go down on the main deck, just to avoid that hangar deck. It's like a weird place. And even after we got back to the States.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the smell lingered for a long time. So, but basically, like you say, I just lost track of what has happened there. A lot of the fellows don't. They remember every detail. But I don't. I don't
either.
Have these reunions brought back anything?
Pardon me?
Have these reunions brought back anything for you?
Oh yes, they've especially talking to some of the fellas. Then it kind of brings back a few things, what happened, and what we did, and all of that. But I think the biggest memory after mine, George, was that when we came back to the States and we were going so slow, and all we had to do was stand up on the top deck and watch to see if there's any torpedoes coming towards us.
Or planes.
Or planes. We were dead ducks in the water, coming back real slow, and that kind of scared the heck out of me.
Oh,
and I couldn't go down below for, what did it take us, 30 days to get back? It took us a long time. So we laid and we slept on top deck.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if you did, but I did.
Yeah. Like you say, I just didn't want to go down.
I didn't want to go down.
I didn't want to go down.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of scared kids, really.
Yeah.
Not ever experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
And
in fact, how scared I must have been. I weighed 180 pounds when we went into Bremerton, went home on leave, and come back, and knew we had to go back out again.
Yeah.
And I lost 20 pounds. I went down to 160 pounds. Yeah. With the anxiety going back out there again. But we did. And,
I think if we would have had a battle station where we manned a gun or a hose or some specific duty to do, our mind would have been off of it. But we didn't have that kind of duty. And I know I was in a position to change my battle station. And I kept thinking, well, where could I be on this ship where it would be safe?
Right. You just, right.
No, because I wasn't really assigned any place.
No, I wasn't either.
And we sort of, I said, maybe I'll go up on the, right below the flight deck, up forward there.
Right.
I said, well, that wouldn't be so good.
Yeah.
When did you first realize how serious, like you were saying, the first one kind of seemed just to kind of shake you, but when did you realize how serious those attacks were?
Well, that's after the second one. Then when the forward elevator was out, and I saw all these guys, wounded, and the guy got killed, then I knew it was very serious, and I knew we lost a lot of lives. And of course, I'll never forget us burying the people at sea too. And did you see those pictures that he showed tonight? You didn't see those. Well, anyway, he had one picture there with a bunch of us, like a little ceremony, and then of course the priest was up there saying prayers over these people, and then of course they had them covered with a American flag, and then they would slide the body into the ocean. And I'll never forget that as long as I live, watching all those people being buried at sea. I don't know if you saw that, George, or not.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was on it.
That was very traumatic for me.
Some of the names that were mentioned, they read the list of the men who were gone. What can you tell me about any of those men?
Well, the only one, the guy that took my place, Ed Nylander, I know him. I knew him very well. In fact, he slept right in the bunk right next to me down below. And real nice guy from Minnesota. Real tall, good-looking guy. And we also had a guy, I don't know what his name was, George. He was an Indian or something, big guy. And I heard later on that he helped carry a lot of wounded out of there, and not worrying about himself and that he took a lot of wounded out of that place where they were hit up forward.
Well, I knew a lot of the guys that got killed because most of the storekeepers, their battle stations were on the hangar deck, which when the first plane hit, that's where it exploded in that deck. So I knew we lost a lot of storekeepers, and storekeepers and yeomans are, you know, they do
Yeah, right. They're
the
kind
same
of work
work,
together.
more or less, work together.
Yeah.
And I just lost a lot of friends, just a lot of friends there. And I knew other people, like when you're aboard ship that way, like we had maybe 1,100 people or so. You know faces, but you don't know names.
Know names.
You see faces every day, but not names, except the people that are in your own division. Of course, you meet other people too that you become friends with. And I lost friends from other divisions too. And when they read that list,
Some of the men have kind of talked about how close y'all were, or the men you knew, and that there were these 3 bad days and the moments following, but there were a lot of good times.
oh my, if we would have knew that we were going to survive, we would have had better times.
Yeah, right.
Really.
Oh, yeah.
I look back now, and yeah, some of the best days of my life were
me
aboard
too.
that ship.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, they were just comical and
Yeah, we had
buddy stuff, and you know, you just like one big family.
Well, sure.
And I mean, there was a few hard heads aboard
Yeah,
there.
right. We had a few rabble-rousers in
like
there.
to make trouble and stuff, but
Yeah.
by and large,
Most
we
of
were
the guys
just
were
like a family there.
real
you
close.
know. And, yeah, I often say that
What y'all do for
if we would have knew that we were
Yeah, I never thought of it
going to
that
live
way.
through it,
Yeah.
you would have a better time still. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, we had some real good times on Liberty in Pearl Harbor, and we had some.
You don't want to talk about that.
No.
Your families are going to see this.
Yeah.
Let's see. How much longer were you on the ship after the attack? And you said it took about 30 days to
Get back.
get back.
Yeah.
To
And
get
then
back.
you both ended up going back on.
I did. I don't know if George.
Yeah, I stayed on to the end of the war.
Oh, did you go?
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys got off when we went to Bremerton after we got hit. But no, we went home on leave and then came back to the ship. And of course, that's when we went out to Okinawa and to, well, where else did we go? Somewhere before Okinawa.
I don't. That's where my memory is
No,
really slipped, is when we were at different places.
Yeah,
you know, I
because
just-
we went right back out there, and right. I think it was the Okinawa campaign, the big one.
And I had just got married when the ship came in.
Really?
I got I proposed by mail. My mom bought the ring and mailed it to my wife to be.
Oh, is that right?
And actually, the whole romance was by letters.
Oh,
Yeah.
we dare.
And
See, I learned
it
something.
shouldn't have worked out, but it did.
Did you save the letters?
I saved a bunch of 'em. You know, sailors only have a sea bag,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I had so many, I had to bundle them up and throw them overboard finally because I had no place to carry them.
Yeah.
But she has, I have them now because she's since passed away. She saved every letter that I
you're
ever wrote her,
kidding.
and I wrote almost every day.
Gee,
And I just went through those not too long ago. Some of them, not all of them, just hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And it's just like living your life over
Oh,
again.
That's
sure.
wonderful.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I know you have 14 children.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Have,
Yeah.
have you shared those with them?
Huh?
Have you shared the letters with them?
No, not really. Not
No.
yet. No, they can have them when I'm going.
Yeah, so you don't have to explain anything.
I got them all in date order. And,
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Mr. Emhoff, is it? He and
His-
his wife wrote letters, and she wouldn't let him save them. So.
Oh, really?
They haven't seen them.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he was talking about that earlier.
No, I've got bundles of them
So you got married on your leave?
on my leave.
Yeah.
And that was, like he said, it was very hard and scary to go back out.
Yeah,
you know,
it was.
Knowing what we saw.
What we
you know,
saw
yeah,
and
then
what are we going to be
out.
into going
yeah,
out.
so. Anyway.
And it was awful fast going out then, too.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Of course, then did you, after we went out and the war was over, Did you go to Nagasaki and see the?
Yeah,
was you on
we
the-
rode right through, like he said, in trucks.
in trucks, yeah.
Put us in trucks and went right through the
Yeah.
middle of it.
Yeah.
And we don't have cancer yet.
No, I was going to say, unbelievable.
What's it been like to meet again with the men you served with?
What was that again?
What's it been like to meet with the men you served with every year?
Oh, it's been,
it's-
of course, the first year was very, very exciting. You got to see guys that you didn't see for a while. And of course, my memory was bad. Some of the guys I didn't know, but they knew me. Why, I don't know.
That's
But
the same thing with me.
Same thing with you, too.
They come up to
yeah,
me and say, I know you.
I know
You're
you.
the guy that lived in Hollywood, or
Yeah,
you're going
right.
to be a star, kidding me, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And then, gradually it comes to you.
Yeah,
Somehow
then-
or other, you recognize the features or whatever. And this one
Yeah.
guy, Harold Fines,
Yeah.
you know Harold?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came up and gave me all kinds of stuff that I remember telling him now.
Is
But
that
I didn't
right?
at the
At the
time when
time?
he told me, yeah.
Well, just like John DeJoven, he recognized me right away, and see, I didn't recognize him.
Well, I sat right next to him when I was off duty in a Radio Shack trying to find music
Oh, is that
on the
right?
radio.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting next to him, but I didn't know him then. I mean, we said probably hi and stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I didn't know him as a friend,
Yeah.
So
Y'all been to most of the reunions since learning about it?
I only went to, I've been to what, since 1991. Yeah, Bremerton. That's
we started in '88.
88.
Yeah.
So there must have been 3 or 4 before I went.
And you've come to everyone?
Everyone since, yeah.
I missed one in Las Vegas, and my wife just
When
passed
your
away, and I didn't
wife
feel
died.
like going
Yeah,
to that one.
yeah.
So otherwise, I made
I knew you was from the first one,
the
wasn't you?
first one on, yeah.
What was it like that very first reunion? Seeing
Well, I really didn't want to go because I won't know anybody and stuff.
Mhm.
But my wife and I, we showed up, and like you say, all of a sudden you start seeing features
people,
or mannerisms
right.
or something, and then it all just gels together. And I'm learning things at each reunion
I learned something tonight.
that happened aboard that ship that I never knew, because
Mhm.
you're down in your office or wherever
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
working, and they don't stick out a newsletter or
Yeah.
tell you over the intercom, this happened today or this happened today.
Yeah,
and,
right.
and I'm just learning things every time I come.
I do
What
too.
happened here and what happened there.
Mhm.
So it's still interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, we enjoy coming
Yeah.
to.
Well, I've enjoyed this one.
Yeah, yeah.
The only sort of sad part is it's not only, it is sad that some of us guys are getting very old now, and
Yeah, we're
you
getting.
can tell that they're not going to make very many
That's
more.
right. You can
Yeah.
tell a few guys
Yeah.
that.
Their health is, it's hard to walk and what
Yeah.
have you, so.
Well, that's why we're doing this,
Mhm.
so that their stories and your stories continue on.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They're preserved. Kind of on that note, what would you like for people to remember about your service in the war and the service of all the veterans of World War II?
Well, my biggest concern, and like I told you, that's why we made this film here quite a few years ago, that the next generation know what we all went through in World War II, that it just doesn't get passed over, that a lot of guys sacrificed their lives, and that, for their freedom, and that's what I hope, that they keep it going, that they remember that.
Well, I really think, of course it'll never happen, but almost wish that they would make a course in high school, or I guess it would have to be in the upper grades, some kind of a documentary of what World War II is, because most of the young people today don't realize what a massive war it was, and how close we all came to being
Right.
under a tyrant.
That's right. You're
And,
right.
they don't have a clue. And as we get older, we're dying off, and we
Yeah.
don't. It's just what we pass on to our kids, but still they don't get the meat of
No,
what
right.
it was. War is hell, and we've never been bombed over here or anything,
No.
so they have no idea. And as I say, it is a little bit sad, because my daughter said today, she's just so confused. She said, we were going through the museum. She says, well, the war was mainly naval. I said, oh no, I said it was a land war.
Yeah.
But we were just supporting that
Yeah.
land war. You know, so they don't know. They don't really know. And if they don't teach it to them, it's just going to fade away altogether, I think, you know, so.
Darn, I had a thought there and I forgot about it. Yeah, I just hope they remember, and you know, all the hardships that everybody went through, not only us but the people at home. You know, they don't realize the people at home what they went through, and so that's my hope, that they just remember that there won't be another. That's what they said last time. Won't be another big one.
What did your wife say when you finally came home?
Hmm?
What did your wife say when you finally came home?
Well, I left the Suwannee and I guess Wakanura, wherever that was.
Right.
I thought it was Tokyo Bay, but I guess it was right close by.
Yeah.
I had enough points to get discharged right off the bat. That was real quick, too.
That was real, yeah, right. That's why I
And,
was surprised that you...
Yeah, my wife was on the East Coast, and I was in a position to type my own orders. And I really couldn't make up my mind if I wanted to go to the West Coast or the East Coast. So I type up a set of orders for myself to stay on the Suwannee to get discharged on the West Coast. And I changed my mind, type them up to go back to the East Coast. So I finally decided to go back on the East Coast, pick her up, because I lived in Los Angeles area. And so they transferred me to the battleship Tennessee, which was going around the world. So we stopped off at Singapore, Cape Town,
Holy
Ceylon.
Lord, now I'm learning something new.
And we were supposed to go to Buenos Aires, I think, but they canceled that. But they had stationery and envelopes and everything showing our route. You know, the big battleship has their own printing presses and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And,
is that right?
it took us longer. The Suwannee got home before we did. But as I say, we went to 3 towns, which I probably would never
Never been, oh yeah. I
ever
didn't
be in my
that,
life,
George,
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
And she met me. I got discharged in Lido Beach, Long Island, and I'll never forget that. She had her fur coat on. It was night. I got my final discharge,
Yeah.
and she almost knocked me over when she jumped up on me. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you both so much for your time.
Okay,
I really
yeah.
appreciate that. Really
Hope
do.
we put a little input to it
I
anyway.
think I'm learning something with every story. Every